Taman didn't attack physically. He didn't need to. His species had evolved past pure physical combat into something more refined, psychological warfare through perfect prediction. He moved in careful patterns, creating situations that forced Jiwoo to respond. Each movement was calculated to limit her options, to channel her into predictable choices. He was mapping her decision tree in real time, building a model of how she thought Jiwoo felt it immediately. This was different from the other matches. Taman wasn't trying to overpower her or outspeed her. He was trying to understand her. And in understanding her, he would defeat her. She responded with instinct, moving without thinking. But Taman predicted it. He was already positioned to counter. She tried changing tactics. He adapted instantly. Every move she made, he had already calculated. 5 minutes passed. Neither had landed a significant strike. But Jiwoo was being herded, limited, contained. Taman's mind was building walls around her possibilities. Then Jiwoo did something that would be studied by military academies for generations. She made an objectively wrong tactical choice. She moved into a position that left her completely vulnerable, that violated every principle of combat strategy. Taman's mind seized on it immediately. He saw the opening, calculated the optimal response, began moving to exploit the mistake. But Jiwoo committed to the wrong choice with such absolute certainty that reality bent around her intention. The vulnerable position became strong because she believed it was. The tactical error became genius through sheer conviction. Taman's mental systems crashed trying to process the paradox. How could something wrong become right simply because someone committed to it? His entire worldview was based on optimal choices, on mathematical certainty. Jiwoo had just proven that certainty could be wrong if will was strong enough. He yielded, trembling, his mind unable to reconcile what he had witnessed. I cannot predict you. You do not follow logic. You create your own rules as you move. During the rest period, the scientific community erupted into debates. What they had witnessed challenged fundamental assumptions about cause and effect, about predictability, about whether reality was truly objective or if consciousness could shape outcomes through pure intention. Hyun checked Jiwoo again. Your neural activity during that match was unlike anything I've seen. You literally turned off your conscious decision-making and operated on pure instinct. No thought, only action. How is that possible while still making complex tactical decisions? I don't know, Jiwoo said honestly. When I stopped thinking, I started knowing. Does that make sense? No, but nothing about you makes sense. And somehow that's your greatest strength. The fourth champion entered the arena. Minji moved like flowing shadow. Her species had evolved to drain life energy from other beings. Physical contact meant slow death. She had never been defeated because no one could survive touching her. The match began. Minji reached out with her power, tendrils of energy-draining force extending toward Jiwoo. Contact was inevitable. The spectators tensed, worried the human would finally meet her match. Jiwoo walked directly into the draining field. She felt her energy being pulled away, felt her strength leaving. Any normal being would have collapsed in seconds, but something impossible happened. Jiwoo's body adapted faster than Minji could drain. Her cells began producing energy at an accelerated rate, not just replacing what was lost, but overproducing, compensating, evolving in real time to meet the challenge. Minji felt the feedback. Too much energy flowing back into her, like trying to drain an ocean. The overflow overwhelmed her systems. She collapsed unconscious, her own power turned against her by the sheer magnitude of Jiwoo's adaptive response. The medical teams found Minji unharmed, but exhausted, as if she had tried to drain something infinite and failed. Hyun's instruments confirmed what happened. Jiwoo's cellular energy production had increased 300% during the match, then returned to normal immediately after. Your body doesn't just adapt to challenges, Hyun said in awe. It overcomes them at the cellular level. You don't have a set biology. You have responsive biology. This changes everything we understand about fixed genetic traits. The third champion was Kwon. He entered the arena with calm certainty. His ability was simple but devastating. Absolute stillness. Through quantum-locked cellular structure, he could become completely immovable and invulnerable. Nothing could hurt him. Nothing could move him. He simply existed unchangeable. The match began. Kwon entered his stillness state. He became like a statue. Unmovable, invincible. Jiwoo tried to strike him. Her hits landed but had no effect. She tried leverage, angles, force. Nothing worked. Kwon was removed from the physical world through sheer perfection of stillness. The spectators expected another stalemate. Another time limit draw. Instead, Jiwoo sat down on the arena floor across from Kwon. She mirrored his stillness. She simply waited. 20 minutes passed. The crowd grew restless. What was the human doing? This wasn't fighting. This was just sitting. Then Jiwoo spoke, her voice soft but clear. You can't stay immovable forever. Eventually you have to choose to move. That moment, that choice is your weakness. You're not invincible. You're just delaying the inevitable, and I can wait longer than you can hold. Kwon's eyes widened inside his stillness. She understood. His technique wasn't about physical invulnerability. It was about commitment to a philosophy, about removing choice to achieve perfection. But choice was inevitable. Life was movement. Stillness was death. He released his technique and bowed. I yield. You didn't defeat my body. You defeated my philosophy. You proved that adaptability is stronger than perfection. The arena erupted in stunned silence. 7 champions defeated. 3 more remained. The second champion entered like a storm given form. Yoonji was living electricity, pure energy shaped into consciousness. Physical attacks meant nothing. Energy attacks fed her power. She was considered impossible to defeat without equally exotic abilities. The match began with Yoonji attacking at the speed of lightning. Electrical arcs filled the arena. Jiwoo should have been electrocuted instantly. Instead, she grounded herself, not by conducting electricity, but by becoming so biomechanically efficient that electrical current flowed around her naturally, like water around a stone. Like light bending around gravity, Yoonji raged with the full force of a thunderstorm. She poured electricity into the arena until the safety systems nearly failed. But not a single arc touched Jiwoo. The human stood calm at the center of chaos, untouchable not through resistance but through perfect efficiency. 8 minutes of continuous assault. Yoonji finally dissipated, her energy exhausted. The medical teams found her reforming slowly, needing time to regenerate. She had never met something that could simply exist peacefully in the heart of her storm. Jiwoo sat in her rest chamber before the final match. 8 champions defeated, 8 different methods, 8 impossible victories. Her body showed signs of strain now, bruises, exhaustion. But her eyes were bright with understanding. Hana sat beside her. One more, Daehyun, the first champion. He has never lost. Not once. I know, Jiwoo said. He's what I came here to face. The absolute limit. Are you trying to defeat him? Or are you trying to find your ceiling? Both. Neither. I'm trying to understand what humans are. If I have limits, I need to know where they are. Hyun entered with final medical results. Your body has undergone measurable evolution during these matches. You're stronger now than you were this morning. Faster. More efficient. But Jiwoo, you're also approaching genuine exhaustion. Your adaptive capabilities have limits. If you push too far, you could cause permanent damage. One more match, Jiwoo said firmly. Then I'll rest. I promise. Grand Marshal Quarmask made an announcement to the entire arena. Cadet Jiwoo has defeated 8 champions using 8 different methods. She has demonstrated capabilities that challenge our understanding of biological limits. Before the final match begins, I offer her one final opportunity to withdraw with the greatest honor any first-year cadet has ever achieved. Jiwoo stood and walked to the arena center. Her voice carried across the massive space. I appreciate the offer, Grand Marshal, but I didn't come here to stop at 8. I came here to find my limit. First champion Daehyun represents that limit. I need to face him, not for honor, not for victory, for understanding. The crowd roared with mixed emotions, fear, excitement, awe, dread. Daehyun entered the arena from the opposite side. 3 meters of natural armor, 4 arms holding weapons that had never tasted defeat. 6 years unbeaten, 87 consecutive victories. He looked at the small human, bruised and tired but still standing, and felt something he had never experienced before. Respect for an opponent before the match even began. You have shown us all that our definitions were incomplete, he said, his voice deep and resonant. Whatever happens here, you have already changed how the galaxy understands possible. I will not dishonor you with restraint. I will fight with everything I am. Jiwoo bowed deeply. Thank you. That's all I ask. The arena fell silent. Every camera focused. Every analyst prepared. Every representative leaned forward. The final match was about to begin. Human adaptability against perfect technique. Chaos against order. The undefined against the ultimate definition of victory. Military strategists revising combat doctrines. Scientists demanding more data. Politicians asking the Academy called an extended rest period. What should have been 30 minutes stretched to 3 hours. The remaining 5 champions needed time to prepare. More importantly, the Galactic Council needed time to process what they were witnessing. An emergency session convened in the observation deck. Scientists, military commanders, politicians, and philosophers all gathered to discuss the impossible matches they had just witnessed. Logos Prime, the Council's Minister of Science, projected data across multiple screens. The AI's voice was calm, but its words were troubling. We have analyzed all 5 matches extensively. The human does not follow predictable patterns. She adapts to each opponent in real time, using methods that appear spontaneous but prove effective. This suggests either exceptional training or something more concerning. What could be more concerning than exceptional training? Asked a military commander. Biological unpredictability, Logos Prime replied. We have spent centuries cataloging species. Corthians are strong. Quellans are telepathic. Vrelnathi are strategic thinkers. Every species has defined parameters. Humans appear to have none, or rather their parameters are so wide that they become meaningless. The AI displayed biological scans from every human encountered so far, 23 individuals total. No two showed the same potential maximums. Some humans were strong, others weak. Some fast, others slow. But when pressed, when challenged, each human showed unexpected capabilities that defied their baseline measurements. They are not specialized, Logos Prime continued. Evolution typically forces species to optimize for specific environments and challenges. Humans appear to have optimized for adaptability itself. They are chaos given biological form. Commander J1, a Vrelnathi military strategist, leaned forward. Our entire doctrine is based on knowing enemy capabilities. If humans cannot be measured, cannot be predicted, how do we fight them, or fight alongside them? You don't, said a voice from the back of the room. Instructor Taiyang stepped forward, the only other human present. You adapt to them, just as they adapt to you. That's what we do. We change, we evolve. We become what's needed. That's not a military strategy, Jaewon said. That's philosophy. For humans, they're the same thing, Taiyang replied. We have a concept on Earth. Athletes and warriors call it the zone or flow state, moments where conscious thought disappears and performance exceeds normal limits. Most species experience this rarely. Some humans learn to access it regularly. I think Jiwoo lives in that state. And I don't think she's unique among humans. I think she's just the first one to realize what she can do. The room fell silent. The implication was staggering. If one human could defeat champions while barely trying, what could a trained human military force accomplish? What if all humans had this potential? Grand Marshal Cormask spoke for the first time. The question we should be asking is not whether humans are dangerous. The question is whether we can share the galaxy with a species we cannot define. Unknown variables create fear. Fear creates conflict, or opportunity, Taiyang said quietly. If humans are adaptable, we can be partners to any species. We can fill gaps, solve problems others can't. You see chaos, I see potential. While the council debated, the 5 remaining champions gathered in their preparation chamber. They had watched the matches, analyzed the defeats. They knew traditional approaches wouldn't work. Daehyun addressed them seriously. We are not fighting to win anymore. We are fighting to understand. If we are to share the galaxy with humans, we must learn what they are, what their limits truly are. Taemin, the 5th champion, spoke up. He was small compared to the others, but his mind was legendary. I have analyzed the human's patterns. She has none. She responds to each situation uniquely. This suggests either incredible intelligence or no conscious thought at all. I believe it's both simultaneously. How do we fight that? Asked Minji, the 4th champion. Her ability to drain life energy made her nearly unbeatable. We force her to choose, Taemin said. We create situations where adaptation isn't enough, where she must commit to a strategy and live with the consequences. The others nodded. They were no longer 10 individual champions. They were a team united by a single goal: define the human. In her rest chamber, Jiwoo sat quietly while Hyeon drew blood for analysis. Hana sat nearby providing silent support. The whole galaxy is watching you, Hana said softly. They are afraid. I know, Jiwoo replied. I can feel it. Even here. Why did you challenge all 10? What are you trying to prove? Jiwoo was quiet for a long moment. I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm trying to understand something. My whole life I felt like I was waiting, like my body knew things my mind didn't, like I was built for something but I didn't know what. When I fight, when I push myself, everything makes sense for the first time. I need to know why. I need to know what I am. Hana reached out carefully and touched Jiwoo's hand. Even through the physical contact, she couldn't read the human's thoughts. But she could sense something deeper. A vast potential, an ocean of possibilities waiting to be realized. I think you are not one thing, Hana said. I think you are many things at once. That is why I cannot read you. You are too many possibilities to understand as one. Hyun interrupted them, staring at his analysis screen with wide eyes. This is impossible. Jiwoo, your blood shows cellular changes from this morning. Your muscle tissue has micro-tears that are healing at accelerated rates. Your bone density has increased by 0.3% in 6 hours. That shouldn't be possible. What does it mean? Jiwoo asked. It means your body adapted during the matches. You evolved. In real time. Under stress, your biology becomes more efficient. Stronger, faster, but only as much as needed. This is the most remarkable thing I've ever seen. He looked at her with something like awe. You're not just skilled, Jiwoo. You're what evolution looks like when it can't decide on a specialization. Your adaptive mutation made real. A message came through on the communication system. Grand Marshal Cormask's voice filled the chamber. Cadet Jiwoo, you have earned the right to withdraw with honor. No one will question your strength. You have already achieved the impossible. You may stop now. Jiwoo stood and responded calmly. Thank you, Grand Marshal. But there are 5 more matches. I need to see this through. Why? What more do you have to prove? Nothing to prove. Everything to learn. I need to know if there's a ceiling, if there's a limit to what I can become. Cormask was silent for a moment. Very well. The matches will resume in 1 hour. In the stands, species from across the galaxy debated what they were witnessing. Some called for human quarantine. Others called for immediate military recruitment. Everyone recognized that something fundamental was changing. A young Korthian student turned to his companion. If one human can do this, what happens when there are millions of them in the galaxy? Then we either become their allies or their obstacles, the companion replied. There's no middle ground with a species you cannot contain. The hour passed quickly. Jiwoo returned to the arena center. The crowd was larger now. Word had spread across multiple systems. This wasn't just about one cadet anymore. This was about humanity's place in the galactic order. The 5th champion entered. Taemin was small and thin, almost fragile-looking. But his mind was his weapon. He had never lost because he could think faster than opponents could act. He could process thousands of scenarios simultaneously, predicting every possible move. He looked at Jiwoo and smiled. I have watched your matches. Analyzed your patterns. I know what you will do before you do it. Jiwoo settled into her stance. Then this should be interesting. The match began, and for the first time Jiwoo faced an opponent who couldn't be beaten by instinct alone. Taemin forced her to think, to choose, to commit to strategies that could be predicted. The arena held its breath as genius met chaos. Order confronted possibility, and everyone watching realized that the next few minutes would reveal whether humans could be understood or whether they would forever remain undefined. The galaxy needed an answer. Jiwoo needed to know her limits, and Taemin needed to prove that intelligence could overcome adaptation. Only one could be right. Velrus charged forward with the confidence of someone who had never been hurt in combat. His species, the Stone Guard, had skin like granite and bones that could withstand plasma fire. He had trained for 15 years, won 43 consecutive matches. His defensive technique was considered perfect. Jiwoo didn't move away from his charge. She moved toward it. At the last moment, she slipped to the side with minimal effort, her hand touching his arm as he passed. Velrus felt nothing from that touch. He turned and charged again. Again, she moved just enough. Another light touch, this time on his shoulder. The spectators murmured in confusion. Was the human just going to dodge? That wasn't fighting. That was delaying defeat. But those watching carefully noticed something strange. Velrus was slowing down. Not obviously. Just slightly. His turns were taking a fraction longer. his charges less explosive. Jiwoo kept moving, kept touching him. Light taps on joints, gentle presses on nerve clusters, places that shouldn't have mattered on a creature with stone-like skin. 6 minutes into the match, Velrus threw a massive punch that should have ended the fight. Jiwoo wasn't where his fist landed. She was behind him, both hands pressed against 2 specific points on his back. Velrus collapsed like a mountain falling, unconscious before he hit the ground. The arena exploded in shocked silence, then confused noise. Medical teams rushed in. They scanned Velrus repeatedly. No injuries, no damage. He was simply unconscious, but how? His species didn't have pressure points. His nervous system was completely different from species that could be knocked out with precise strikes. Hyun checked Jiwoo during the rest period. "What did you do to him?" "I felt his body," Jiwoo said, drinking water calmly. "Every creature moves energy through their system. I followed the paths until I found where they converged. Then I stopped the flow. That's not possible. You can't have known his biology." "I didn't know it. I felt it." Hyun had no response to that. The medical data supported her somehow. The locations she touched corresponded to Velrus's neural clusters, but those locations weren't documented. They couldn't be detected by standard scans. Somehow this human had sensed them through touch and intuition. The 9th champion entered the arena 30 minutes later. Moralen was called the Swift. She came from a high-gravity world where everything moved fast or died. Her species had reaction times measured in microseconds. She had never been hit cleanly in any match. The match began and Moralen became a blur of motion. She attacked from 12 angles in 3 seconds. Each strike precise. Each movement perfect. Jiwoo blocked them all. The spectators leaned forward. How was the human tracking movements that fast? Even the cameras had trouble following Moralen's attacks. Then Jiwoo did something that made every analyst in the room start recording frantically. She moved faster than Moralen. Not constantly. Just in bursts, moments where her body seemed to accelerate beyond human capability, beyond what her muscle structure should allow. Moralen felt it too. The human was predicting her attacks. No, not predicting. Moving before Moralen herself decided where to strike. As if the human existed slightly ahead in time, seeing what was about to happen. 4 minutes into the match, Jiwoo's hand touched Moralen's throat 3 times in less than a heartbeat. Tap, tap, tap. Gentle touches that shouldn't have mattered. Moralen stopped moving and raised her hand in surrender. "I yield. I cannot touch you. I do not understand how, but you are faster than me." The arena erupted in noise. The Swift had never yielded. Never. Defeat, yes, but never surrender. During the rest period, Sentinel-9 presented preliminary analysis to Grand Marshal Cormask. "Sir, the human's neural activity shows patterns we cannot explain. She appears to be operating partially on unconscious prediction. Her body moves before her conscious mind decides to move. This gives her a time advantage measured in milliseconds. Against most opponents, this wouldn't matter. Against opponents like Moralen who depend on speed, it's decisive." "How is this possible?" Cormask asked, unknown. "Human neurology may operate differently than we understood, or this human is exceptional even among her species." The 8th champion was Cross. He could manipulate gravity around his body, making himself incredibly heavy or incredibly light. His favored tactic was simple: increase his mass until opponents couldn't move him, then crush them with gravitational pressure. Jiwoo felt the gravity increase as soon as the match began. The air grew thick. Her body felt 3 times heavier. Cross smiled and increased it further. 5 times. 10 times. Cadets in the front rows felt the pressure and moved back. Jiwoo took a step forward. Cross increased the gravity to 20 times normal. Enough to crack bones. Enough to immobilize any opponent. Jiwoo took another step. Then another. Her movements were slow but steady. She wasn't fighting the gravity. She was accepting it, moving through it like water flowing downhill. Cross panicked and increased the gravity to 50 times normal. The arena floor cracked. Warning alarms sounded. Medical teams prepared for emergency intervention. Jiwoo reached Cross and placed one hand on his chest. She didn't push, didn't strike. She just redirected his own gravitational force back into him using leverage that violated every known law of physics for her size and mass. Cross slammed himself into the ground with his own power. The impact left a crater. He couldn't rise. His own gravity pinned him down. 2 minutes. The match lasted 2 minutes. The spectators sat in stunned silence. 3 champions defeated, each in a different way, each using different methods that shouldn't have worked. In the observation deck, representatives from the Galactic Council spoke in hushed, worried tones. The human isn't using superior strength or speed, one said. She's using adaptability. She fights each opponent differently. She has no set style. How do you defend against an opponent with no pattern? Another asked. No one had an answer. The 7th champion was Yuna. She was Quellan like Hana, but where Hana was gentle, Yuna was fierce. Her telekinetic powers were legendary. She could manipulate dozens of objects simultaneously with perfect precision. The match began with Yuna lifting debris from the arena floor. Metal beams, broken equipment, pieces of the crater Cross had created, all floated around her like orbiting moons. She attacked with everything at once. Objects flying from every direction. Jiwoo should have been overwhelmed. Instead, she walked forward calmly. Objects missed her by centimeters. Not because she dodged, but because they moved around her naturally, as if she existed in spaces between their trajectories. Yuna increased her assault. More objects, faster speeds, tighter patterns. She created a storm of metal and stone with Jiwoo at the center. Jiwoo continued walking, untouched. Yuna screamed with effort, pouring all her mental energy into the attack. She felt something she had never experienced before. Complete futility. It wasn't that the human was too strong or too fast. It was that she existed in gaps where attacks simply couldn't reach her. After 8 minutes, Yuna collapsed from mental exhaustion. Not a single object had touched Jiwoo. The human walked out of the debris field without a scratch. Medical teams rushed to Yuna. She was conscious but drained. I saw her, she whispered to the medics. With my mind's eye. She exists between intention and action, in the space where things could happen but haven't yet. I cannot hit something that isn't quite there. The 5th champion entered the arena while Jiwoo rested. Rin was called the Phantom. Her species could phase between dimensions, becoming partially intangible. She had never been hit cleanly. How could you strike something that wasn't fully real? The match began with Rin disappearing. Her form flickered in and out of visibility. She attacked from phase space, her strikes passing through Jiwoo's defenses to hit from impossible angles. For the first time, Jiwoo was hit. Rin's phased strikes connected, leaving bruises that appeared without contact. The spectators stirred. Finally, someone was hurting the human. But Jiwoo didn't panic. She stood still and closed her eyes. Rin circled her, phasing in and out, preparing for a finishing strike. Jiwoo's eyes opened. She moved with perfect timing, striking at empty air. But when her fist extended, Rin phased into reality at exactly that point. The strike connected with Rin's neural cluster with such precision that it bypassed every defense. Rin solidified and fell unconscious instantly. The medics found no injury. The human had simply touched the exact spot at the exact microsecond when Rin was solid. A strike timed with such impossible precision that it seemed like precognition. 8 minutes of waiting for one perfect moment. 5 champions defeated. 5 different methods. 5 impossible victories. Jiwoo sat in her rest chamber, breathing normally, barely sweating. Hyun checked her vitals for the 3rd time. Your body should be shutting down. You've fought 5 of the galaxy's best warriors. Multiple impacts. Extreme stress. But your vital signs are better than they were this morning. I feel good, Jiwoo said honestly. Like I'm just getting started. Hyun looked at his instruments and made a decision. I'm taking a tissue sample. With your permission. There's something happening in your body that medical science needs to understand. Jiwoo nodded. Whatever helps. In the observation deck, panic was setting in. 5 champions defeated, 5 more waiting, and the human looked fresh and ready. Grand Marshal Cormask received reports from multiple sources. 3 weeks passed since Jiwoo arrived at the academy. She trained every day, pushing herself harder than anyone expected. The other cadets still kept their distance, unsure what to make of the human who moved like water and struck like lightning. Every academy term ended with the same tradition. The 10 trials of ascension. The 10 champions, the best fighters from the senior class, would accept challenges from any cadet. It was an honor system, a way to prove yourself. Most cadets never challenged at all. Those who did usually faced the lower-ranked champions and lost quickly. No first-year cadet had ever challenged a champion. The gap in experience was too vast. It was considered suicide for your reputation. Jiwoo stood at the registration terminal in the Hall of Champions, her finger hovering over the screen. Behind her, several senior students watched with amusement. Lost first year? One of them called out. Jiwoo ignored them and pressed the screen. Challenge request. Select opponent. She scrolled past champion 10, past 9, 8. Her finger kept moving until it reached the top. First champion, Daehyun of Skorth Prime. Challenge accepted. Then she went back and selected the second champion, and the third, and the fourth. All the way down to the 10th, the terminal beeped in confusion. A warning message appeared. Multiple challenges selected. This will require sequential combat. Confirm request, Jiwoo confirmed. The senior students behind her fell silent. One of them rushed to check the screen. She challenged all 10 champions. This must be a mistake. But it wasn't a mistake. Within an hour, the entire academy knew. The human cadet had challenged all 10 champions in sequence. The administration assumed it was an error. They sent instructor Tae-yang to speak with her. He found Jiwoo in the training room practicing movements that looked like dance. Jiwoo, we need to talk, he said in Korean. What did you do? I registered my challenges. All 10 champions? Do you understand what that means? These are warriors who have trained their entire lives. Daehyun has never been defeated, not once in 6 years. Jiwoo stopped moving and turned to face him. I need to know what I can do. I need to understand my limits. They're the best here. If I fight them, I'll learn. You'll be humiliated, hurt. Your reputation will be destroyed before you even finish your first term. Maybe, Jiwoo said calmly, but I have to try. Something inside me says I can do this. I need to know if that feeling is real or just foolishness. Tae-yang studied her face. He saw no arrogance there. No bravado. Just quiet certainty. I can't stop you. But please, be careful. The Academy's council met in emergency session. Grand Marshal Quarmask presided over representatives from multiple species, all arguing about what to do with the humans' challenge. We should deny it, said a Vrilnathi commander. She's not ready. This will end badly. The challenge system has no provision for denial based on readiness, countered a Quellan administrator. Any cadet can challenge any champion. That's the tradition. But this is unprecedented. A first year challenging all 10? Quarmask raised one massive hand for silence. The human filed her challenge correctly. According to our laws, it must be accepted. However, I am concerned about the spectacle this will create. If she loses badly, it could damage human-galactic relations. And if she wins? Someone asked. The room erupted in laughter. The idea was absurd. One first-year cadet defeating 10 champions? Impossible. But Quarmask didn't laugh. He had read the reports, watched the footage of her combat assessment, seen the analysis from Sentinel-9. The human was an unknown variable, and unknown variables made him nervous. We accept the challenge, he declared, but we will have medical teams standing by, and we will give her the option to withdraw at any time with no loss of honor. News spread beyond the academy. Scientists requested permission to observe. Military strategists wanted to see the human in action. The Galactic Council sent representatives. Within days, the arena was fully booked for the first time in decades. Hyun, the Academy's human medical officer, ran tests on Jiwoo the night before the matches. His instruments showed readings that made no sense. Your adrenaline production is off the charts, he said, frowning at his display. Your muscle fibers are showing activation potential that should tear them apart. Your neural firing speed is 3 times what it should be. Jiwoo, are you in pain? No, she said simply. I feel fine. Just nervous. Nervous? These readings would indicate you're either terrified or ready to fight for your life. Most species would be crippled by this level of stress hormones. Humans are good at stress, Jiwoo said with a small smile. Hyun shook his head. I'm going to be watching you carefully during the matches. If anything looks wrong, I'm stopping it. I don't care about tradition. In the Champions preparation area, the 10 greatest fighters in the academy gathered together for the first time. They rarely met as a group. Each trained independently, focused on their own path. But this challenge was different. Daehyun, the first champion, addressed them all. He was massive even by Skorth standards, nearly 3 meters tall with natural armor plating and 4 arms. His record was perfect. 87 matches. 87 victories. This human has no chance of defeating even one of us, he said. But we should not take her lightly. Humans are unknown. They defeated a patrol fleet by accident. They create technology that shouldn't work. They are chaos given form. She's a first year, said Velrus, the 10th champion. His stone-like carapace made him nearly indestructible. I will end this quickly. No, Dahyun said firmly. We will each fight her seriously. We will test her limits. Because if one human can be this brave or this foolish, we need to understand why. The galaxy needs to know what humans are capable of. The morning of the trials arrived. Jiwoo woke early and ate a simple breakfast. Hana sat with her, silent, lending what support she could without words. Are you afraid? Hana finally asked. Yes, Jiwoo admitted, but also excited. This is what I came here for, to find my limits. I think you have no limits, Hana said softly. I think that is what frightens everyone. The arena filled with spectators from every species. Cameras recorded from multiple angles. Scientists checked their instruments. The atmosphere was electric with anticipation and doubt. Grand Marshal Cormask made the announcement himself. Cadet Jiwoo of Earth has challenged the 10 champions in accordance with Academy tradition. The matches will proceed in order from 10th champion to 1st champion. Each match will have a 15-minute time limit and 30 minutes of rest between matches. Victory by submission or incapacitation. Lethal force is forbidden. He paused and looked directly at Jiwoo where she stood in the arena center. Cadet, you may withdraw at any time. There is no shame in recognizing superior opponents. Jiwoo bowed respectfully. Thank you, Grand Marshal. But I will see this through. Velrus entered the arena from the opposite side. His footsteps shook the ground. His carapace gleamed under the lights. He looked at the small human and felt something like pity. I will make this quick, he said. You are brave to come here. Jiwoo settled into a stance that looked wrong to every martial expert watching. Too relaxed, too open, too vulnerable. The match began, and the galaxy's understanding of possible began to crack. The transport ship docked at Horizon 7 station with a hiss of releasing pressure seals. Jiwoo stepped through the airlock carrying a single bag, her eyes wide as she took in the massive military academy before her. The station stretched for kilometers in every direction, a floating city in space dedicated to training the galaxy's finest warriors. She was the first human to ever walk these halls. The other passengers gave her a wide berth as they exited, a tall creature with blue scales, a floating being made of crystallized light, a four-armed soldier whose skin looked like polished stone. They all stared at her, and Jiwoo tried to smile back, but most looked away quickly. At the processing center, the automated scanners beeped in confusion as Jiwoo stood on the platform. The attendant, a thin alien with too many eyes, frowned at his display screen. Stand still, please, he said. I am standing still, Jiwoo replied. The scanner says your heart rate is both elevated and normal. Your muscle density reads as weak and strong simultaneously. Are you using some kind of jamming device? Jiwoo shook her head. No, sir. That's just me. The attendant made a note in his system and waved her through, muttering something about faulty equipment. Grand Marshal Cormask reviewed the human's file in his office high above the training grounds. He was a Vrelnathi, a species known for their strategic minds and towering frames. His 6 eyes scanned the data with growing concern. Human, female, 22 standard years old, physical capability, undefined, mental aptitude, undefined, combat experience, minimal, threat assessment, unknown. Every other cadet had clear measurements, strength ratings, speed indexes, predictable growth curves. This human's file was full of question marks and contradictory data. The only reason she was here at all was because the Galactic Council wanted to understand humans better after the incident. Cormask remembered the incident well. A human cargo ship had encountered a disabled patrol fleet. The humans tried to help. They bypassed security systems the patrol fleet thought were unbreakable. They jury-rigged repairs using methods that violated 3 laws of physics. They accidentally created a feedback loop that shut down every ship in the area. When asked how they did it, the human captain had shrugged and said, "We just messed around until something worked." The entire galaxy had realized they knew nothing about humans. So they sent one to the academy. Just one. To see what would happen, Jiwoo found her assigned quarters in the lower levels where first-year cadets lived. Her roommate was already there, a gentle-looking creature with pale purple skin and large, kind eyes. "Hello?" the roommate said softly. "I am Hana. I am Quellen. We are telepathic, but I cannot hear your thoughts. It is like static. This is very unusual." "I'm Jiwoo," she replied, setting down her bag. "Sorry about the static. I don't know why that happens." Hana tilted her head. "You are human. The first I have met. Are all humans difficult to read?" "I don't know. I'm the first human here." They stood in awkward silence for a moment before Hana smiled. "Would you like me to show you the academy? I have been here for 3 months already." Jiwoo nodded gratefully and they headed out together. The academy was overwhelming. Combat arenas large enough to hold thousands of spectators, training rooms with gravity controls, weapons ranges where cadets practiced with technology Jiwoo didn't recognize. Everywhere she looked, she saw aliens of different species, all training to become soldiers in the Galactic Fleet. "That is the Hall of Champions," Hana said, pointing to a massive building with statues outside. "The 10 best senior students. They are legends here. Some have never lost a match." Jiwoo studied the statues, warriors frozen in poses of victory. "Have you fought any of them?" Hana laughed softly. No. First-year students never challenge champions. It would be foolish. They have trained for years, some for decades." On their 3rd day, all new cadets gathered for combat assessment. Instructor Tae-yang, one of the few other humans on the station, pulled Jiwoo aside before her match. "Listen carefully," he said in Korean, speaking their native language. "These aliens are stronger than us, faster than us. They have abilities we don't have. Don't try to win. Just survive and learn." "I understand," Jiwoo said. Her opponent was a Korthian, a species known for their combat prowess. He stood 2 meters, tall with thick muscles and bone ridges along his arms. The match began, and he charged forward with confidence. Jiwoo moved without thinking. Her body reacted before her mind processed what was happening. She sidestepped, redirected his momentum, and struck 3 precise points on his body. The Korthian collapsed, unconscious, in less than a minute. The arena fell silent. Instructor Tae-yang stared with his mouth open. The other cadets whispered among themselves. The Korthian's trainer rushed into the ring to check on his student. "What technique was that?" the trainer demanded. Jiwoo looked at her hands. "I don't know. It just felt right." Later that evening, the Academy's combat AI Sentinel-9 flagged the match for review. It ran the footage through every database: human martial arts, ancient Earth fighting styles, modern combat systems. Nothing matched. The humans' movements existed in gaps between known techniques, flowing in ways that shouldn't have been possible for her species' documented physical limitations. Sentinel-9 sent a report to Grand Marshal Quarmask. Unable to categorize human combat capability. Recommend extended observation. In their quarters, Hana watched Jiwoo carefully. "The others are afraid of you now. They saw what you did to the Korthian. No first-year student defeats a Korthian in combat assessment." "I didn't mean to scare anyone," Jiwoo said quietly. "I just moved. My body knew what to do." "Your body knew? Not your mind?" Jiwoo considered this. "Both. Neither. I don't know how to explain it. When I fight, everything becomes clear. Like I'm connected to something I don't understand." Hana reached out but stopped before touching Jiwoo. "I wish I could read your thoughts. I think there is much happening inside you that even you do not see." That night, Jiwoo lay in her bunk and stared at the ceiling. She thought about the match, the way her body moved, the feeling of absolute certainty in each action. Back on Earth, she had always felt restless, like she was waiting for something. Here in the Academy, fighting against aliens who should have been superior to her, she finally felt like she was where she belonged, but she didn't understand why. Grand Marshal Quarmask added another note to her file. Human cadet demonstrates combat ability beyond documented human parameters. Origin of technique, unknown. Potential, undefined. Recommend close monitoring. The word spread through the academy. The human, the strange one, the cadet who defeated a Corthian on her third day. Some students avoided her. Others watched her carefully during training. And in the Hall of Champions, the 10 greatest fighters in the academy heard about the new human and wondered what she represented. None of them knew that in just a few weeks Jiwoo would challenge all of them. None of them understood what was coming. The galaxy was about to learn that humans could not be measured by normal standards. And that lesson would change everything.